Alright then guys, here's one just for Hussein. Completely shot my own winkle off in this game. It goes down a line that I kind of know. Then my opponent plays a move that I've never seen before and is actually awful. I get a huge advantage and I blow it. Check this out. So we have e4, e5, knight to c3, the Vienna. Okay, knight comes out, Vienna Gambit offered, accepted, brilliant. E5, hit the knight. Now there's only really two things that black can do here. Can either retreat the knight straight away or pin the pawn with the queen. Here he pins the pawn, and all you do as white is you simply break the pin by putting your own queen on e2. And now the knight has to go back to g8. There is nothing else for it. It can't go to any of these other squares. It'll just be captured. All right? So, the next move is d4. And now the very weird and funky g5. So clearly, with this, I'm threatening to capture his pawn, and he plays g5 to save his pawn. However, he runs into a problem, and I see the problem. Knight d5, very, very thematic move in the Vienna, okay? And I'm attacking both the queen here and the c7 pawn, which in turn would obviously come with a check fork. So, the queen retreats to d8, and now we have options. I've got nice control in the center. I've got a queen off the mark. I've got a very good knight. My opponent's got zip. Okay, so the next move that I see is this knight to f6. Yes, I'm moving my developed knight a third time. However, it's pretty threatening. Okay, because the king's in check. There's only three legal moves. Knight takes knight. In which case, if knight takes knight, pawn takes with a discovered check, okay? And the only thing that can happen is bishop blocks or queen blocks, okay? So knight takes knight, pawn takes, bishop has to block, pawn takes bishop, threatening the queen, queen takes, king takes, you know? And it's horrible. It's horrible for black. So in this instance, black plays king to d6. Now, from this point in time, I am utterly in control of the game. From this point in time, it all starts to go Pete Tong. Right, so, what would you play in this instance? This is one of those areas where it can be very, very hard. You know, once your opponent's on the ground and bleeding and you've got your foot on his neck, it's like, what do you do now, right? And the computer says, finish him. That's from a really old fighting game. One I can't remember which one it was even. Old, really, really old console game. Finish him when your opponent's there going, and you've got to go in for the killer blow. Simply failed to do it. And it can be very, very challenging when you've got such a dominant position to be able to see clearly, you know, take off the blinkers, open your eyes. So what I played is knight takes knight, forcing rook takes. And obviously now the king can't castle anyway, okay? And then I thought, let's go in and attack with a queen. So I attack this with a queen, right? But this does, in due course, lead to trouble. Because my opponent just plays rook g7. It's defended by the bishop. I play g3. And the king now goes back to e8. And this is still absolutely disgusting position, right? I trade pawns in the middle of the board. Why not? So now I'm thinking, let's maybe get the bishop out, get the king castled. For some reason, I don't do it in that order, but I grab the pawn. So now material is equal, but black has no development. He plays c5. Now there is an option of en passant capture here, but then we'd probably get bishop captures, I don't know, or even queen captures, and it's kind of opening things up for my opponent. So for some reason I now play bishop h6. What I should do here, I think, is probably just castle, get my rook into the middle of the board behind my two central pawns, finish development of my other minor pieces, get my other rook into the middle of the board, and I'll probably just romp home. But I play this, okay, thinking I'm at least going to be able to exchange material. But what is the problem here? Pause the video if you need to. I missed something very crucial, okay? And what is it? Okay, so bishop g4 traps my queen. This is horrible, okay? Can't go there because bishop's guarding that and that. Can't take the bishop because it's protected by the knight. The queen is guarding these squares, right? 2 pawns are guarding that square and the bishop's guarding that one. My queen is actually trapped. My opponent did a really, really good thing here. He spent 24 seconds on that move. He's in a losing position and he did what he had to do, right? Obviously the first thought is, oh no, my rook, best move my rook and recapture there. But he took his time, right? With 7 minutes on the clock, he took his time, found this move. And I'm done for. There's nothing I can do. So I grab the rook, he grabs the queen, I retreat and attack his queen. Now I really, really, really want to castle, but I can't, because this bishop is now covering the d1 square. So now, from being in a totally dominant position, I've just managed to lose my queen by being over greedy. He now comes out with that. I move my bishop. Obviously, I'm down in material. I don't want to make trades. Now I bring my knight out, and I do have an idea. I'm thinking now, maybe he's going to castle. And if he castles, he's putting his king and queen on the same diagonal. Okay, so he now moves his knight out, and I'm thinking, great. h4. Why h4? Because I want to put my bishop here, defended by my rook, okay? And he can't block. Yeah, I mean, okay, so the only option is bishop here, and then if I take, queen takes, right? But if he moves his bishop, I'm okay. And I'm thinking, this knight can come to here or here, threaten the bishop, make the bishop move off that diagonal, right? Okay, so now his knight comes in. But I'm in panic mode already, right? I'm thinking, okay, what can I do? I've put my knight here so that I can at least castle. But his knight is now looking at c2 with a fork and this. So actually probably what I should have just done is move my king. Should have just moved my king, defend this pawn. I didn't, I castled. Now, the obvious thing here would be knight takes a2 check. Yep, which is indeed what is played. All right. I bring my king across now, which is not clever, okay? But I'm hurting already at this point, and my opponent has had the good sense not to castle. He doesn't even need to castle, right? And maybe fall into this. Maybe he saw it, maybe he didn't, I don't know. Now he simply retreats his knight. And can you see the threat to white now? Massive threat to white, okay? I play my rook to c1, defending this pawn and getting out of line of this bishop, but also not clever. So first he trades off here and then queen a4. Queen a4 and I'm screwed. There is nothing I can do. I cannot stop queen to a2 with checkmate because I've just trapped in my king. If I hadn't moved my rook there, I could have run away with the king and I'd still probably have lost badly, but there we go, checkmate. Painful, painful lesson in this. So let's look at the game review because this is the critical thing, right? This is the beauty of losing is that you get to do this and you get, and if you're on chess.com or whatever, you can analyze the game, you can even do it over the board yourself and figure out what would have been better. And in fact, you'll probably learn more by doing it without the computer the way that everyone used to do until recently. Okay, so this is all book, okay? Now, this is not great. You shouldn't accept the Vienna Gambit, but it doesn't matter. There we go. Queen there, mistake. Queen there is a great move. Okay, so now I'm plus 2.2. Knight has to retreat. Of course it does. D4 I know is the best move. Okay, so I'm feeling in clover. And this is a blunder. This is a blunder. And I'm already plus 6, and I find this move. Okay, queen has to retreat, best move. This is the best move, right? I am wiping the floor with this guy, right? And king there is okay. The other move is knight takes. Okay, king there is okay, and now according to the computer, there are two decent moves. h4 is one, just threatening to capture here, reinforce the knight, open up the rook. And the other move the computer suggested is knight to d5 check. So if knight to d5 check, the king can't go there, or stay there. He's only got two moves, so he's going to go back to e8, right? And then the computer's saying h4 is a move, knight to f6 is a move, okay? There was no reason for me to trade off this evil, menacing mother of a knight for this guy who's sat in the box doing nothing. No reason whatsoever, right? There's all kinds of things I could have done, but I think bringing out this knight definitely to here. h4, like the computer said, all good. This move is just not great. I've gone from +6.5 to +2, right? He takes, obviously, and now this queen move, again, another mistake. Again, the computer saying I should have just played h4, broken things up, opened things up. I'm trying to be too clever. And what am I doing here? I'm going after a bloody pawn. A pawn. You don't win the game with a pawn. You win some games, right? Grinding games where you really have to work and you get down to an ending where you've got one extra pawn and you manage to push the pawn, and you know, those 100 move games. This is not going to be one of those games, right? This is a bloodbath of a game, and the way that you win games like this is bishop out here, you know, then maybe queen to there and threaten checkmate, that kind of thing. But this is just a, like Simon Williams would call it, an artificial attack, because this, right? Yeah, maybe it wasn't the best move, but it undid me. And then blunder. Blunder. The computer's saying you should castle, dude. Get your king to safety, you bloody idiot. And I am a bloody idiot, right? But it's hard. It is hard. So going back to the review, so what I would generally look at is, what are the points where your rating, your score changes dramatically? So from here to here, bad move. This knight is, you know, the knight of the apocalypse. This knight is still in the bloody box. Don't do that kind of nonsense. Instead, bring out your material. I'm not even following my own rules here, yeah? And then, you know, there's a bunch of things. This and this. Why is that a blunder? Okay? Why is it a blunder? Because I'm not developing anything, right? Hide line. Best is, okay, bishop d2, getting ready to castle. Okay, let's look at that line. How does that one play out? Now my king's safe. Oof. And look at the middle of the board. Opened up, you know, like Christmas morning. I mean, absolutely fine. After g3, after this, black is actually better. Can you believe it? Black is better. I've gone from like a +6 advantage in just a few moves to black is better. That is apparently a mistake. Okay, but again, I'm forgetting the basics, right? Just get the goddamn king to safety, develop your pieces, then attack. Okay, well there you go. Hussein, I hope you're happy. You wanted to see me lose, and that was a real stinker. Very, very painful. But if it improves your day, that's some compensation for me. Right, guys, thanks for watching. Vienna players, keep a note of this one. Definitely one to remember. All right, I'll see you later. Cheers.